Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind podcast, episode 136. This week, you are in for another treat. Bob has a chat with a mentoring student that we have in the current mentoring program who is on his first project, and it's really exciting. Great guy, Alex Kempson. And Alex is going to talk you through his project, how he's experiencing property development, and you'll learn a little bit about what it takes to be a property developer. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. But anyway, before we step into episode 136, because I'm not actually in the podcast, I'll give away the book on the intro. So this week, the book goes to Craig Ross. Craig, book's in the post to you, and you enjoy that. Remember, head straight on over to page 121. Alrighty, so jump on into episode 136, a fabulous interview where Bob chats with Alex Kempson, a current mentoring student who is on his first project. Hello, welcome to Property Mastermind podcast, episode 136. I'm going to hand you over to Bob now, and he is doing an interview with one of our current mentoring students, as I said, Alex Kempson. This is a fabulous episode. You are going to learn so much.
Hi, and welcome. Today's fantastic because we're going to be talking to Alex, who's one of our mentoring students. Alex, welcome aboard.
G'day, Bob. How are you?
G'day, mate. Very well, thanks. Well, we talk all the time, really, if you think about it, because you've got a great project on the go at the moment. So just quickly, tell us a bit about your project. What type of project is it?
It's an upmarket duplex up in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland.
Yeah, I know the area pretty well. And when you say an upmarket duplex, I mean, obviously duplexes range from some pretty ordinary ones out in the burbs to some pretty upmarket ones. So when you say upmarket, what makes this a special duplex?
Well, location is obviously very important, and this site is no exception. So it's very close to the water, to the surf, and obviously that's to attract a certain type of owner-occupier, and in that kind of market, having something which is quite luxurious is quite important.
Yeah, and in spite of its proximity to the surf, and I don't know, we're probably talking 60 metres or something. It's not far. It's a quick stroll.
It's close.
It's close. And also it has, both the duplexes have swimming pools as well. So they're two-storey duplexes?
Yep, two-storey, pools in the back of both yards.
Yep, three bedrooms up. Yeah.
3 bedrooms.
Great configuration.
Suite. Yep.
Yeah. And who's your likely buyer to be for these?
It's most likely going to be the downsizer from maybe the Melbourne or the Sydney markets, or even possibly Brisbane. Someone could be a small family, but being at the higher end of the the mid market, it will attract owner occupiers over renters.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it is a great project, as we both know. And what stage is it up to at the moment?
Just going through the initial design phase of getting the draft plans drawn up. So there's a couple of consultants who are working in the background, doing a various number of initiatives, and hopefully in the next 2 months it will be going in for development approval.
Yeah, that'll be great. And this is not your first foray, because you're also an investor in another project, but this is the first one, your solo project, just you. And as it turns out, I think you've got a couple of investors on board as well, which is a model that I know that you like. How are you going with investors? Some people get a little bit, how am I going to deal with these people? But how are you finding it communication-wise? You're happy, good happy investors?
Yeah, it's been a really good experience. I mean, as you mentioned, I'm an investor in another project, and I think that it gave me a good insight into the type of, I guess, questions and possible concerns that might arise in investing in property development. So when talking to investors at the early stages, that was something that was obviously front of mind. And obviously the investors are also not novices when it comes to purchasing property as well. They're quite comfortable with it.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's great. Yeah, it's always a good experience when with happy investors, that's for sure. So, look, property development, we're talking about property development here. What drew you to property development? Because you're not born a property developer.
Not at all.
Not that I'm aware of. Anyway, I haven't known anybody to be born a property developer. But what was the attraction? What drew you to it?
I guess it was a couple of things. I've been interested in property for some time with the standard buy and hold. But it was really during the COVID sort of period, probably walking the dog, 2 or 3 times a day and just looking around and noticing so much activity, so much development going on in the area that I was living in. And I had a bit of time, obviously, during that period. I thought that this was something that I was kind of interested to learn more. And I didn't know at that stage until I did learn more.
So it's a step up from a property owner, property investor, and now thinking, property development sounds good. I think I'll investigate that a bit further. And I'm glad you did, because we got to meet ourselves. And I've got this silly little earpiece here, keeps falling out. I think I've got the wrong shaped ears. That could be what it is. I think I've got custom ears. So property development. Well, we met, obviously. And so how did you get onto Property Mastermind? What made you go down that path?
Oh, it was a couple of years ago now, but I think I would have just started the Google process. It's what you do. Needed to find out.
Does.
It is. I needed to find out more about property development.
Yeah, so you're smart enough to realise, well, okay, I've got to get myself educated, which is a good move. Not a recommended thing to take up without some education. So let's just sort of go sideways for a minute. We'll get back to the pure property development. But what about yourself? You got a family?
Yes.
What's the deal there?
Yeah, got a beautiful wife and 2 lovely stepdaughters. Only got married a bit over a year ago. So it's a very busy household.
Wow, that's a year ago. I remember when you did get married too. Well, that's a quick year. That's been a quick year indeed. Okay, so it's always important, I think, if you're going to be a developer, that if your partner's not involved, that they're very supportive. And I know that's the case there, but how supportive is your wife, and what does she do that really enhances your role as a developer, do you think? Because I think it's important people understand this.
It certainly is. I mean, right from the early, the early stages in even investing in another project, and then obviously undertaking my own, you do need that support from the family, not just to help you sort of stay on top of things, but also provide you the confidence that you're making the right decisions. So it has been a very fortunate situation that Kate's well on board.
Well, she is well on board, and I've obviously met her as well. And I think it's great. Property development sometimes can be a bit of a lonely game if you don't have somebody that you can share it with, even conversationally, or just toss things around, things that are going through your mind, things that you're thinking, things that you're thinking about doing. And of course, sometimes we have a joint venture partner we might do that with, but other times it's just our partner, our life partner. And I think it's great to be able to do that. It can be, as I said, sometimes a bit of a lonely journey purely by yourself. Of course, you can do it, no doubt about that. There's plenty of people that have, but just to be able to share the excitement, I think. And when you got your first set of plans and you're going through them with somebody else and sort of visualising, I think it's a great thing as well. You can't beat a supportive partner no matter what you're doing.
Very true.
So, yeah, exactly. So, tell me. Property development, okay, it's a couple of years now that you made that move. Now, what sort of skills do you think that you've brought with you to property development? So other roles you've had, other jobs you've had, where you've developed skills in certain areas, and often those skills can be transferable. What skills do you think you brought to the table that have helped you as a developer?
Well, I think the number one thing that I probably didn't know at the beginning, but certainly is a skill, is people management. I mean, it's all about organising and coordinating people in a process, and it's something that I do in my day job quite frequently, and I think those skills very much transfer into property development.
Yeah, I often sort of have a rough definition when I talk about property development. I say it's managing people and managing the process. Well, the process is simply what it is; it's the steps. But the people, that's an important part as well. Those sort of communication skills, I think that that you can bring to the table. It's not a property development isn't really. I'm going to leave this silly ear thing there. Hey, it keeps falling out. Property development is not it's not for recluses, And I just myself personally, one of the greatest things I've got out of property development is the relationships that I've built over years with people, not just professional people, but just so many different people, and so any sort of people skills I think are really important in property development because there's a lot of people involved, that come in and come out of a deal, and so those skills are important. I also notice, having worked with you, that you're a good time manager. I don't know whether that's something you've built in recent times or you've always been like that, but you've got good organisational skills, and that's important.
Yep, it certainly is. I feel that obviously in my day job, time management, it's easy to get sidetracked and to simply sit in front of email and things like that. But you've always got to be thinking one step ahead and planning your day, planning your week, and documenting what's the most important things you need to achieve. So you want to develop the project as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I know every day counts with interest. Not get sidetracked with fishing videos on YouTube, which I do occasionally. But anyway, there's a time and a place for everything. And so this change, you've gone through a change, I guess, in a way. Now you are a full-time property developer, and so your days are filled with obviously pushing each project forward. So that's what you've got to do: push the projects forward. So the one you're doing at the moment is going very well, and you'll have that sort of pretty well bedded shortly. Are you looking down the track a little bit and thinking, well, I wouldn't mind initiating or at least looking for another one? Is that on the horizon at the moment, or are you thinking, well, I think I'll complete this one totally and then I'll go and locate another project? What's your thinking?
Haven't put a huge amount of emphasis on thinking that far ahead. Certainly would be interested in starting to do the research into another development during the back end, probably once construction starts. I think during that process, there's a bit more time available. I think that'd be the right time to start looking for the next project.
Yeah, I agree totally, and that is the time to start looking. And you've got your model, because your model is doing developments at the moment. You're using investors, which is a great way to leverage up. And I imagine part of what you'll be doing going forward is looking for other investors, people that might want to come on board and share your success. Often people they've got money, of course, but they're too busy or don't lack the knowledge to do their own. And that to me, that's one of the fun things of property development. One's finding the deal, of course, but the other thing is, if you're going to invite investors into a project, is that sort of communication and just the explanation of how these things can really change people's lives. It's a good way of looking at it. I know you do when you're talking about investors, because I know how well you get on with your investors, but not treating investors as just a source of money, which technically they are, but treating them like almost like friends or compatriots, in this venture. And so I guess you're heading down this path of property development and joint ventures. Do you find that exciting? I love talking about projects and talking about projects to other people, and ultimately getting them involved.
Oh, most
Do you
definitely.
find that exciting, like I do?
Well, absolutely. Like, as we discussed before, I came into the property development sort of arena as an investor. And I thought at that stage, well, this is going to be a really good education process where I can be sort of armchair investing in property development. But very quickly, I realised that it was a little bit too interesting to just sit there for a couple of years and watch from the sidelines. So, yeah, probably no more than 6 months after jumping into that investment, I decided that it was now the right time to actually start looking for my own, and then obviously, yeah, looking for my own investors.
Yeah, and thank goodness for property developers, because we can open those sorts of opportunities to other people who lack the time or the expertise or even the will, desire to want to do property development, but share in the profits of property development. And that's what's such a wonderful thing that, I think, getting a little bit philosophical here, but I think it's a blessing to be able to do what we do, to do property development, to understand it, and to make the sort of money that we make, but to be able to actually share that with others who don't have that knowledge, don't have that time to be able to do that, may perhaps locked in a day job, where they've got a ceiling on their income, but where they can use their cash, their assets, and even their self-managed super fund in a lot of instances, and then where you can help people to build wealth and ultimately change their financial future. That sort of stuff excites me. I know you and I talked about that as well, and so you've got the good heart of a developer who also wants to share, and I think that's a great thing. I like to have those
Yeah.
sort of people around me.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
it's a
So,
long relationship too, isn't it? I mean, you go into a project and you've got to find the right people, and you've got to obviously communicate well with them, and share the experiences and tell them how the project's going over. Well, it's probably this one would be close to a 2-year project.
yeah, communication's the key with investors, both in terms of communicating the expectations up front, obviously getting the right documentation, which is important, but then throughout the project, just keeping those communication channels open, because, a lot of investors will go again with a good developer. So they have a good experience, make some money, pull their capital back out, and then go again. Some of the investors I've got been hanging around for quite a while, really, and it can be a really good relationship for both parties. So that's why I sort of love the model and push it a lot. Now, you don't live locally these days to where your project is. You're in
No,
another state.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So yeah. So how are you finding? Well, that's what we call a remote development. So remote, we call it, to give it a name. It's where we're doing a development, not where we live. How are you finding it? Obviously, it's going well. I know that for a fact because we talk all the time. But how do you find
yeah,
being, I don't know, what is it, 1,000 kilometres or more away
well,
from
that's
the
right.
project?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of research, as you know, you obviously do online initially, and that's how I started. And obviously, identifying a patch, and then honing in onto that patch to really lock down into the not just the suburbs but the streets that were going to be ideal to develop. But in terms of being in another state, so much can be done online. So many resources are available online that a lot of the research, obviously, in a quick flight into states, only an hour and a half and $100 these days. So
Yeah,
I
and it's
don't I
tax
don't think
deductible
that's
as well.
well, yeah. So I never let that obviously get in the way of identifying a good patch to work and being able to develop there.
Yeah, technology's made such a huge difference. I mean, nobody knows that more than me over 4 decades of development.
That's right.
When I look back and, it's actually funny when I think about some of my early developments and how I used to do handwritten feasibilities on foolscap paper and then go and type them on a silly old typewriter with a ribbon
Yeah.
to make them look neater. And because with my typing, there's lots of whiteout. I don't know if anybody remembers what whiteout is. And but the thing is that I still got things valued properly. I still got finance. At Sander, I think it was in the early days, which was a hard finance arm of the ANZ, still gave me money in spite of what sounds pretty unprofessional. But what do you do? There weren't even laptops. There weren't personal computers back in those days. And property development, it's the principles haven't changed in all those decades, those 4 decades, but it's technology, that's made the difference. And I know you embrace technology as well, but just like you were saying there, you can look at a property from another state, from another country even, and find out so much about it these days. And so in your research, you would have done quite a bit of that, I imagine. Good council websites they're a blessing, aren't they?
They certainly are. Yes. Yep. Lots of information available.
Yeah, because the better ones, you can have a look at a block of land. You can see the size of it. You can have a look at a contour plan, see which way it slopes. All the other stuff that we do, that's done over the internet. And I think that's one of the biggest differences in property development would definitely have to be technology. And what does that do? It makes everything faster. Just speeds things up so much. And that means we can make fast decisions. And we have to, don't we, sometimes? We have to make fast decisions if we're onto something, and other people could be onto it. But
yep.
yeah, it's
certainly noticed that. Yeah, in recent times, you don't have a lot of time sometimes to do the initial due diligence on a particular site. So
yeah, you've got to know how to do it and how to do it fairly quickly. With that site, when you bought that, was there a lot of competition, or had you sort of made up a bit of a relationship with an agent who was pretty quick onto it? How'd you snaffle it? Because I know that's a cracker site. It's a sort of site I would have jumped on if I was out there looking, for sure.
Yeah, well, I probably spent maybe close to 6 months looking, and as you know, we crossed a lot off. But in the end, I used a buyer's agent. Obviously, also being in another state, having local hands and feet, they can actually provide a lot of value. Been in the markets locally, so it was an off market listing. So we were able to sort of get a bit of a front run before they were going to go and put it publicly listed. So that was definitely a benefit, and I think proved to be the difference in able to do that due diligence and put an offer on the table quickly.
Yeah, that was definitely the key. Now that I remember that, now that you say that. Some people are funny about buyer's agents. I've had people say to me, I'm not paying somebody to find me a site. Real estate agents sell stuff for free, and they do. They don't sell it for free. They get paid by the seller. And for me, I've bought sites through buyer's agents. I reckon, I'd have to say there's a few ordinary ones around, but a good buyer's agent is gold. It's proved gold in your case. I mean, that deal is going to make many hundreds of thousands of dollars for you, which is pretty impressive from a good duplex. And the buyer's agent snagged the deal. And a good buyer's agent, to me, is somebody who can get off-market deals. I don't have, a lot of faith in buyer's agents who just flick me something that's out there on realestate.com or Domain that I can find myself and 5,000 other people. And sometimes they do that. But to be able to get a buyer's agent who understands what it is you're looking for and then can go out and get a deal off market that might be 2 or 3 days off actually being listed and going to market, that gave you that time because you'd been trained well on how to do the due diligence. You knew exactly what to look for. And I remember myself and Aaron did some quick work on that with you as well to make sure it was the deal that we needed. And there you go, snaffled it. So the bit you pay a buyer's agent is nothing when you consider what you can make out of a good deal.
Absolutely. And
the lack of frustration of finding a deal is there. It's put on the table for you. That's what's the case with you. So I love it.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, the brief had to be pretty solid, and the point you made is spot on. There were always a few realestate.com listings that they sent my way, but it was also a good process to go through with them where we could discuss why it wasn't going to be suitable and what I was looking for, that sort of thing. So when that off-market opportunity did come up, they knew that it was something that was going to interest me straight away.
Yeah,
So they didn't
yeah.
hesitate bringing it to me.
That's a good point
Mm.
you made there, Alex. When you were talking about they flicked you a few that maybe financially didn't stack up, or perhaps they were just on the market, on realestate.com. But you re-educated them as to why you didn't want those, and reinforce what you did really want. And I think
Yeah,
that's important, not just with buyers agents, even with agents who bring you a deal. And I've seen some people, agents send somebody a deal and they have a look at it and it doesn't stack up and they just, rubbish, in the bin, but never actually get back to the agent, which is pretty rude.
mm.
But I've always gotten fantastic results, and I know lots of others have too, doing what you did. And if the deal doesn't stack up, get back to them and say, look, really appreciate you sending me this deal. I can't go ahead with it for this reason. And often it's because the numbers don't work. But just show them and say, I need this particular profit margin, and this one doesn't show anywhere near enough. That's why I can't do it. What I want is this. I need to get a site for this much or whatever. And most agents appreciate that because it helps them narrow their focus a bit. And they also know you're fair dinkum, you're professional. And if they find one that meets your parameters, they know you're going to buy it, which is
That's right.
exactly what the case was in you. I think that buyer's agent, when he presented that, he was probably 99% sure that you were going to go ahead and buy that site because it just met every box that you'd ask him to go and tick.
It certainly did. Yeah, we went through it in a lot of detail, and every element before you just mentioned was exactly the process that we went through. And I mean, what I also learned was that probably a lot of the time buyers agents might be looking for properties for just property investors who would buy and hold, which is a very different sort of proposition to what would be acceptable compared to looking for a site that's developable.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, well, of course, there's all sorts of buyers agents, but we want buyers agents that understand development sites. And there's not lots of them around, but a good one is gold, as it turned out to be in your case. And I wouldn't be surprised if they might have a little bit to do with your next deal. You never know. It's an option anyway, isn't it? When you're
Definitely
out
is,
there
yeah.
looking wherever your patch happens to be. Yeah, so that's exciting, mate. I mean, one of the reasons that I love our mentoring program is that I get to share in the excitement of people doing projects as well. So, well, we always have a few of our own on the go. It's just so exciting to be a part of that whole development process. And recently, when you shared a new set of plans with me from the architect, and we were able to get on the phone and sort of walk through the thing in our heads, and you're coming up with little things like, oh, do you think the linen closet's big enough, or do you think we should put a skylight over the stairwell, or is there enough light coming in? All those sorts of things, which I love to do, and which is probably why I keep doing what I do. But I'm sure it's your project. You find that super exciting, but I really appreciate sharing. You sharing it in there with us. In the mentoring program.
Well,
And,
getting the
and
feedback from all the experience. I must also say that having a second set of eyes, and Kate even was very involved in having a look at it. I think that's an element that she will find more exciting as things move on, progress.
yeah, exciting. I love it when projects go 3-dimensional and the frames start to go up. That's when
Yeah,
you can really see things. It's everything's exciting in property development. Every little step along the way. Hey,
that's
so
right.
mate,
Yeah.
well done. Congratulations. You're flying, and I'm sure I'll be around to watch you. As you complete this one, and I'll be watching you from the sidelines on your next one as well, and no doubt flicking you some texts and emails as I see things develop. As I do with a lot of people that have gone through our mentoring program. It's I just love the excitement of property development. And
Yeah, thank
so,
you.
look, thanks very much for coming on the podcast, and sharing that with us. I hope everyone found that really informative and exciting. And, mate, your property development, what company name, or what do you share? What do you
Uh,
operate under?
yeah, Hillside Hillside Property Group.
Hillside Property Group.
Yep, .com.au is where you can find us.
Okay.
And all my contact details are there.
hillsidepropertygroup.com.au. Even though the project you're developing at the moment is on almost a dead flat site, I think that's a good name. And so, look, anybody out there who's maybe got some spare cash that's not really working hard enough for you, you could consider Alex. And I could certainly recommend Alex. I could recommend Alex to any potential investor who wanted to invest in a property development, derive a lot of the benefits, the financial benefits of property development without actually having to do it, which is a pretty good gig, I think. Just go to that website. As you know, we do it. We love investors. You do it. You love investors. There's plenty out there to make the world go round. So once again, thanks for that, Alex. And we'll be in touch, no doubt, shortly as I continue my exciting journey with you. And
Thanks,
we'll
Bob.
see you all very soon. Cheers.
Thanks for having me on the podcast.